Let's talk about this picture. Now, the picture was captured by Daniel Hill, who was the custodian at Driftville Elementary. If you look to the back of the photo, you can already kind of spot that something is very off. What the custodian had thought was maybe a student who had stayed after school and was trying to prank him in the dark turned out to be something much worse. Daniel Hill was attacked in that hallway and did not survive the attack, with his body being found the following morning by a student who was described to be found on the floor with lacerations so severe he no longer had eyes and his nose was missing. So police eventually turned back to the final photo that was taken on his phone to try to enhance it to figure out who would have done this. This was about the clearest version that they could make of that photo, and the man seen here was never found, and his motive towards Daniel was never known.
This guy is about to get attacked and dragged by a demon in his sleep. That ghost was not playing any games. Also, take a look at what time that happened at. Demon hour. Like and follow for more videos like this. Also check me out on YouTube.
Was in the house with him the entire time. Cody was enjoying his day off one day when he noticed the lights began to flicker in his house. Shortly after, the fire alarms went off. After that, he noticed the faucet in the restroom was running.
Bathroom, after cutting the water off, I kind of heard something behind me, and that was actually this door here that closed. That's when I really truly got freaked out.
So he exits the house. He tells his girlfriend what's going on, and she insists that he does not enter the house.
I said, well, look, I'm going to go back in and I'm going to keep filming because I don't know what to expect.
When he re-enters the house, he sees that everything is in disarray.
All the chairs were on the floor, knocked over, all the cabinets were open. Nope.
I would have had the exact same reaction. After exiting the house for the second time, he musters up the courage to go back in, because like anyone in this situation, he's probably thinking, what the is happening?
I went through every single room looking for somebody, thinking maybe somebody had gotten in and they were just trying to scare me.
Nobody is in the house. It's not until playing the video back afterward several times that he notices what he caught on the recording.
Video, I noticed something in the corner of the room, which is actually my daughter's room. So I screenshotted it and I just zoomed in on it. My heart just dropped. I could feel my face, all the blood in my face ran. I mean, it scared me. It just looked like somebody watching me. I didn't sleep that night.
Somebody tagged me in this scary video. Let's watch it together. I mean, I think what your dad's security camera caught was your dad. I mean, the cow's not frightened, and it honestly just looks like he's throwing seeds or something like that. Or performing a magical ritual. I don't know, let me know what you think in the comments below. Is it the dad, or is it a demon or a ghost?
I really want to talk about this photo. A security guard at the Bryson Avenue Mall located in Virginia took this photo in 2011. It would later be turned into police, but the woman seen here was never found. For context, the security guard's name was Sean Mercado, and he worked the night shift at this mall. But the mall had been having strange things happening for like weeks. Like on after hours, there are store alarms going off, but nobody's ever found. They're hearing people run through the mall, but again, they never see anybody. Until one night when Sean Mercado goes out to have a cigarette, he's just kind of patrolling the parking lot, and he goes back to enter through the employee entrance when he saw this woman staring back at him from inside the mall. He takes a photo for proof, and then he radios for backup, and he goes in after her. He claimed to chase her as fast as he could, but he eventually lost her inside that mall, and despite a police investigation, she would never be found.
Let's talk about the rake. Could it be a real creature? No, I'm not talking about this thing. I'm talking about the creepypasta, the rake. So according to the legend, back in 2003, a number of people reported seeing this humanoid creature. They all pretty much described it the same, saying that it was like a naked creature with hollow eyes and wet hands. Then randomly, a media blackout happened, after which all reported sightings of the rake disappeared from online. So people believe that this media blackout was planned so that the government could erase all the information out there on the web about this creature. There's been apparent sighting videos like this one, or this one from my last TikTok. There's even a number of people that believe that this creature is real and that they have encountered it. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Could the rake be real? Also, check out my YouTube video for more scary stuff. Link in bio.
This is why you should never take walks alone at night. In 2007, a girl was on a late night walk when she looked at the end of the road and saw the silhouette of a man moving around very strangely. It was like he was doing the waltz, but he was moving towards her, so she was sketched out, crossed the road, and went the other way. After a couple minutes, she turned around to see what he was doing, and he was right across the street from her, now staring up into the sky with a huge grin on his face. Now totally creeped out, she turns around and walks about a half block before checking again, and to her horror, he's now crouched down right behind her. But luckily, he stands up, turns around, and kind of hobbles away, and then she notices something. The man had turned around and was now sprinting directly towards her. She runs to safety and now just hopes she never has to see that smiling man again.
I am telling you, doing night security, it's gotta be one of the scariest jobs. Okay, so this photo right here, this was captured by Michael Hostin on the 3rd floor bathroom of a Dallas shopping mall. The reason he took it was because he's night security and he heard noises coming from this bathroom, but he was nervous to check the actual stalls, so he sends a picture to his coworker. After he sent the picture, he eventually leaves the bathroom, but then gets a text where his coworker says, "Keep your weapon drawn and call for backup." He had no idea what he was talking about until he increased the brightness of this picture. It's not easy to see in the dark, but with the photo enhanced and slightly brightened, you can see somebody peeking over the top of that middle stall. Someone was in there, looking directly at him as he searched the bathroom. But even with a visual, by the time backup eventually came, whoever this was, they were gone, and we were left with this picture. And if you're loving Creep Time, make sure to go follow on Insta.
A veteran police officer named Josh Thomas was going to be working at the Capital City Theater. At some point in the night, Josh comes over the radio and says, "Hey, I need backup right now. Someone has broken into the theater." And when Dave gets to the theater, Dave would say that Josh's eyes were, like saucers. He looked terrified. He said that he had been doing security rounds and he had heard what sounded like voices when he was in the basement. He checked all the rooms, everything was shut. And when he made his way up to the 3rd floor, he saw that the elevator had kicked on. It was in the basement, and suddenly the light was on and it was whirring up to the 3rd floor. And when the elevator opened up, there was no one there. And then the alarm goes off. That's when he called in for backup. They clear the whole theater, no one's there. They go into the main auditorium where the stage is, and they're just standing on the stage chatting with each other. And Josh is facing Dave. Josh just suddenly stopped, looking just beyond Dave's shoulder. And Josh goes, "There's something behind you." Dave slowly turns around. He can tell immediately what Josh is looking at. Standing in the very back of the theater away from them is a man standing in the corner with its hands by its sides. Its back is to them and it's looking down with a hood over its head. Dave turns his whole body around to look at this thing right as this thing turns around real quick and looks directly at them. It has these deep, dark, sunken eyes, and its face looks like it had been very badly burned, and it's looking at them before it just turns and runs out the back of the theater. Josh believed that that was an intruder. Dave was fairly certain that that was just another example of this entity that haunts the theater. But they would search the building and they could never find that cloaked figure again. Dave would do some additional digging on the history of the theater. It would turn out that in the 40s there was this horrible fire and a man had been trapped in the basement when the fire had erupted. And he had died inside of the theater. And so Dave would share this information with Josh. They believed that what they were witnessing was the ghost of that man who died in that fire.
Terrifying games you don't want to play part 15, the Man Outside game. Every time you win this game, you will be granted an extra year of life. But each time you lose, 10 years will be subtracted from your life. To play this game correctly, you will need to unlock all of your windows and make sure that they are uncovered, and then wait until 2 a.m. Once you have done this, you will need to go up to each window individually, knock 3 times, and say, man outside, are you there?" If you hear what seems to be a voice in the wind telling you to run and hide, pay attention to those instructions. The game has now begun. For the next several hours, you will be hunted by a mysterious entity known as the Man Outside. He is not allowed to come inside himself, but his shadow will attempt to drag you towards the windows so that he can see you. If he finds you before sunrise, the game is over, and I'm sorry, but you've lost. However, if he has not found you by sunrise, knock on the windows once more and say, man, outside, you have lost. Upon hearing this, he will disappear immediately, but you may need to chase his shadow away with a broom. Comment whether or not you would play this game, and follow for more.
This is why you should always lock your crawl space. In 2019, a young woman had just moved into the second floor of an apartment building. She noticed a tiny crawl space that connected all the apartments on the floor, but she wrote it off, citing, who'd be small enough to crawl through that? One night, she walks into her living room, and out on the fire escape is a tiny woman desperately trying to yank open her locked windows. Terrified, she hides behind some furniture until the woman eventually leaves, at which point she runs into a room, grabs her phone, and calls the police. While waiting for the cops to arrive, she hears something above her and she looks up. One of the ceiling tiles had popped up, and the woman from the fire escape is staring down at her. She'd used the crawl space to get up there. The girl screams and the woman scurries away. It took 3 days for the police to finally get the woman out of the crawl space and bring her into custody. Turns out she was on some unknown, extremely hard drug and had totally lost her mind.
When summer ends, it always leaves a mark, so we can find our way back to the water. But we take our time and lay out on the dock like two cold-blooded souls in need of warmth. We'll take everything that you want, you can have it, and I'll brush the sand from my clothes. No need to be ladylike, even forbidden fruit you can buy, and every excuse you could possibly use for the way that the world says to be. I'm thinking it's best if we lose.